I'm Crystal Faulkner with the CPA and Business Advisory firm of Cooney, Faulkner & Stevens. We're here today with Lee Robinson. Lee's the founder of Robinson Realtors, now known as Robinson Sotheby's International Realty. And Lee, we learned last week that on a national basis, there were more home permit requests for residential construction than we've seen in 4 years. And personally, I just feel like I'm seeing more sold signs around town. Are we seeing a trend in the market in terms of more activity?
Absolutely, and Cincinnati follows that national trend. We did have more residential building permits granted last month than we have seen actually in 5 years here in Cincinnati. So it is a good trend, and it's following the overall trend, including sales of existing homes, that is definitely up, no question.
So in other words, that inventory of existing homes is shrinking.
It is. It's shrinking slowly. And still we have a fair amount of what I'll call distressed sales, short sales, foreclosures that are still a part of that pipeline, and that's kind of the toxic matter, if you will. But really, literally a third of our sales still involve some type of distressed sale, but we're in the process. It's a multi-year process of washing that through.
Well, what other trends are we seeing in terms of what people are looking for in homes?
Basically, you're going to see a lot more simplified living. People like newer, like new kitchens, new bathrooms, and they're not necessarily going for the large square footage of yesteryear. It's tougher to afford. Property taxes, maintenance, kind of steers them away a little bit from older, more antique type housing. Still, there's a charm in that, but the basic Generation Xers and Yers are not following that trend as much. Naturally, people like to go to pedestrian-rich area, walking communities.
I always say walk to ice cream, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. They like to go to a coffee shop, they like to go to the ice cream, the restaurants, but they like to not necessarily be harnessed to their car.
Well, just following up on that, are there any particular areas in Cincinnati where we're seeing some of the highest growth in terms of value and activity?
As you might expect, given that people are trending towards the pedestrian-rich areas, and Cincinnati actually has a lot of nice neighborhoods that do allow for that. But on the east side of town, the Hyde Park, Mount Lookout area are very, very strong. And then, of course, all the neighborhood communities, there's 57 of them in Cincinnati that are quite good, and that's not counting northern Kentucky.
Well, we're going to continue our conversation with Lee Robinson of Robinson Sotheby's International Realty on WCPO.com/businesswise. Lee, you talked about the downtown living, the urban living. Who are these people moving downtown? Are they people demographically in terms of aging people, empty nesters, for example?
Well, there's slightly different segments. Downtown is defined these days as the central business district, as well as the Gateway Corridor and over the Rhine in general, and then of course the banks. The banks has been very successful. That's new, more rental product, and they span the age range. But it's for the most part, it's childless.
I was down at the banks at a Reds game just real recently, and also the Bengals, and it's just the energy down there at the banks is remarkable. It's just so much fun, and you can just feel it in the air in terms of all of the activity because of all the living that's going on, the residential living in downtown.
And there's a lot more to come. And then we find that the central business district tends to be broad-ranged as well, and maybe a little more business-oriented. They can easily walk to their various offices and whatnot, and there's a lot of nice entertainment. The entertainment district, hundreds of restaurants, and that's great. And of course, the public library is a nice draw for a lot of people. And then you have over the Rhine, and particularly the Gateway Corridor, that's seen now Washington Park open up, and all the
transformation.
Activity. I mean, total transformation.
I'll tell you, if you haven't been down to the over the Rhine area recently, it's just remarkable.
Yeah.
It's not anything what we would have imagined even 5 years ago.
There's a lot of national experts that consider it the #1 urban development in the United States of America.
That is amazing.
Yep.
Lee, speaking of people moving into apartments, smaller homes, condos, that kind of thing, so is this idea of a home as an investment, is it still something that you should take a look at in that vein?
Well, I think today is a good time to do that for two basic reasons. One, we're seeing super attractive prices. They're down 25% from where they were, say, 5 years ago. So that's a real calling card. But coupled with the interest rates. The interest rates are at their historical low. I mean, yes, we've moved up 1/8%, but my gosh, it's they're practically giving money away. So the combination of low prices and extremely affordable financing pretty much makes it a no-brainer. In fact, it's interesting that a lot of people, now it's a credit dynamic too, because we have people with good incomes and their credit is not sufficient for bank approval. They are actually paying more in rent than what they could buy a very nice house for.
Well, and that leads me right into my next question, because certainly homeownership is one type of real estate investment, but what about people who do want to make investments in real estate, for example, multi-family apartment buildings?
Sure.
What do you think about that in this age right now?
Well, let's talk about the investor that is not going to occupy the property. So he could buy a single family and rent it, a 2-family, a 3-family, 4-family. Those types of investments are definitely getting stronger. They were weak a few years ago because you still have to have there needs to be confidence in the marketplace. You know, is our values going to continue to go down? Are they stable? Are they going up? Most of the national experts think we are at the bottom and that we're going to see slight increases in 2013. So the investor that can couple not only the low interest rates to allow for a nicer cash flow than they would have had at a 6 or 7% interest rate gets the benefits of that while being probably more confident that the building value will go up simultaneously.
So if you've ever thought about making a real estate investment, now seems like a good time to maybe take that step and at least explore whether or not it's something that makes sense for you.
Absolutely. The smart money came into the marketplace in the last year or two, and now it's better known that it's a really good opportunity.
And so, Lee, again, you are the founder of Robinson Realtors, but a few years ago you teamed up and formed an alliance with Sotheby's International, which is an international realty company. How has that been for you? Have you found that to be an advantage?
It's been fantastic from the standpoint that they have 550 offices in almost 50 countries around the globe, and so with 13,000 realtors that look more like me, there's a tremendous amount of referral and expert aspects to that collaboration. We have marketing tools and systems I never could have built on my own, and so it's phenomenal in that regard. Plus the value of that brand is unbelievable. We are not only the marketing tools the best in the business, but it's amazing how many people reach out to us to take advantage of those.
And your office is officially headquartered in Hyde Park, but you actually service the entire area, correct?
The entire tri-state from our office. We're dual licensed in both Kentucky and Ohio, and we work the entire region.
Well, Lee Robinson, thank you so much for being my guest.
My pleasure. Thank you.